of The Lofty Lender with Tall Money Man. Thanks for coming back for another episode here. Today, I've got another special guest. I've got Jessica Cammarano. She's a real estate agent with Remax Concepts Nebraska. Having been licensed since 2016, most of her time has been with Remax. She's won a few prestigious awards, including the Torchbearer Award, which is given to the top 40 agents under the age of 40 per region. Prior to getting her real estate license, Jessica was an analytical chemist and held a degree in biochemistry. She has twin teenagers, 2 dogs, a husband, and fosters dogs whenever she's needed. Jessica grew up on the East Coast but is thriving here in the Midwest, enjoying Nebraska's good life. Welcome to the show, Jessica.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, so let's hop right into it. Jessica, what led you to become a realtor?
Um, so I was a chemist, and I had twins, and I was like, man, I don't want to do the 9 to 5 thing. I want to stay at home with my kids. So when I bought my first house, my real estate agent, Robin, she was amazing. And I was like, man, I could be like Robin to someone. I still talk to her. I bought my first house back in 2006, and I have talked to her within the last 6 months. So I made that relationship, and I thought, I could be like that. Maybe I'll just sell a couple houses a year and I'll pay for vacation. So fast forward 8 years later, and I'm like really good at this. And I think maybe it's my East Coast, like just you're upfront and you just get it out and you're not beating around the bush that makes me so successful. But I went from thinking I'll sell a couple houses a year to being in the top five. I think it was 2022 in our city as far as sales goes. So um, it just kind of happened to me, I guess.
Congrats, that's awesome. Wow, so it was rapid success, huh? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah. And my husband says that anything I do, I just jump in feet first. I don't even think about it. So that's probably what helped me start and get off to such a good start.
So then what habits keep you successful?
What happens to keep me successful? Um, I think it's the relationships, and I really don't take myself too seriously. I'm good at my job, and I do well for my clients, but you know, I have fun with it. I'm not stuffy. I want to be someone that you can relate to, that you can come back to in a few years, and just be like, hey, I remodeled this whole thing. You want to come see? Just somebody that is more of a friend than transactional. Like I don't want someone that doesn't feel comfortable just being like, I had a bad day today. I think that's what keeps me successful is my relationship when I'm within the transaction.
So then it seems like you're working a lot then. So do you find time to get away and hang out with the kids as well?
Yeah, actually, this past winter, I took a 3 week vacation from real estate. We had a big family vacation with my whole husband's side of the family. And I try to take a trip with my kids each year, and we do some like really special things, like individually with each of my children. My son really likes sports. He's a swimmer. So my husband and I have season tickets to Kansas City Sporting, which is a soccer team, professional soccer team in Kansas. So we'll go down there. There's a game this weekend. And then my daughter is really into music and concerts. So we try to take her to concerts that she's interested as often as possible. In fact, there's one tomorrow. So my husband's going to the soccer game and I'm going to the concert. And sometimes we switch back and forth if one of us can only do. But I try really hard to, especially since they're twins. It's so hard to have that one-on-one time with twins. So that's really like when I'm not doing real estate, I'm just finding a way to like connect with my kids because at 16 they're almost gone and I'm so sad.
I bet. Yeah, so then what's your husband do if he's able to hop off and run off with the kids too? What does he do for work?
He's an air traffic controller. So anybody that's taking off or coming into Lincoln Airport, your life is in his hands. So
That's awesome. Wow. So he's like you. He's juggling a lot of conversations all going on at the same time where they're speaking in code and you're kind of
oh
speaking
yeah,
in code with real estate for sure.
Oh, for sure, for sure. It's a high stress job, but he loves it. He was in the military before he was part of the FAA, and he really thrives in like high stress situations. So I think his downtime. I don't think he likes downtime at all, and neither do I. We're both like real intense people.
That's awesome. Well, so if that's the case, so I found this question and I just thought, your videos show that you like to have fun. So I want to know the answer because I think you'll appreciate this question. So the president needs you for a special project. What expertise did he or she come to you for?
Oh my goodness. Oh, put me on the spot. Um, okay, this is gonna get sappy. I have a soft spot in my heart for folks that are unhoused. My mom, actually, after I went to college, my mom and my sister were unhoused and they went couch surfing for years on friends' couches. In fact, I was long graduated from college when my mom finally was able to get an apartment. And she worked at the same place for 25 years, but the wages, they don't allow for you to live in certain areas. So I think if the president was asking me for something, he would ask me, what do you think we could do to help the unhoused situation? We have so many malls that are just sitting around that they can be made into affordable housing. We've got hotels that just didn't make it through the pandemic. All of that, they can all be taken in by the government, reworked, and made into affordable housing and transitional housing. So if you're on food stamps or you're on Section 8 and you make $15 over the minimum, they cut everything off. There's no off ramp. And it breaks my heart. I know so many people that want to purchase a home that they've saved money or they can save money to purchase a home because it takes away their food stamps. I think that if President Biden were to come to me, he would want me to help him with that because I've been on both sides. I'm well off, I'm educated, I have a great job, I'm stable and thriving, but I also come from very poor roots. So I can give the perspective of someone who knows how hard it is to dig yourself out of that hole and what real things you need to live the American dream.
That's awesome. Yeah,
It wasn't what you expected, right? Because I'm so silly on TikTok.
you've put a lot of thought into that. I appreciate that. See, I think you already knew the answer to that question before you said I was putting you on the spot. I think you've been preparing for this. You've been waiting for that call.
No, I just think about stuff a lot. In the shower, right before bed, your mind just never stops.
You have the best shower. Everybody has the best thinking in the shower, right? Like I've come up with ways to solve some of the craziest problems in the shower. And then unfortunately, I take a super long shower and I forget most of it by the time I get out. So lose it all. But that's all right. Yeah, I've heard um, there's paper, like some sort of board or something you can put in your shower, and you can actually write it down, and uh, and then you can scan it with your phone afterwards. So you pop in the shower, you scan the QR code, and then it'll put it all into your notes on your phone. So shower thoughts is a real thing. People actually, it's not just you and me here. And
Yeah.
apparently they've come up with a product for it. So it's kind of cool. I really probably should take advantage of that. But usually I'll just think about that one thing and I'm like, okay, I know I'm going to forget it. So I'm just going to repeat it over and over and over and over to myself. And eventually when I get out of the shower, I'm going to remember to at least write it down. It's better than those thoughts that you have in the evening when you're sleeping, right? And you wake up and you're like, oh yeah, I need to do that tomorrow. And then you go to sleep. And then next thing you're like, crap, what the heck did I wake up about? What was that? Or when I write it down and I look at it the next morning, I'm like, I think I can speak another language. That's amazing. What did I just write? That's incredible. So, yeah, I totally can appreciate where you're coming from on that. So what drew you to your current company, and what's the most rewarding part of being associated with Remax?
Okay, so I don't you can't like badmouth other companies, so I'm not gonna say where I started, but I started at kind of a local brokerage here in Lincoln, and um, I didn't get the feeling that they were for their agents. They had a very high commission that you had to charge your sellers, a commission rate that I didn't feel was justified. They took a large percent of your commission. So you work real hard and maybe you got like 40% or 60% of that, and you could get like higher percentages, but then they reset you every year, and they if you had a problem, they would tell you on one side like, hey, we've got your back, but on the other side they really didn't. So my best friend and I decided that we were going to try to find. I only spent like 4 months in this brokerage when I got the writing on the wall. And we met with our broker. His name is Larry Holmes. He is probably one of the best humans on the planet. Like, he genuinely cares. He's like the scoutmaster for like a Boy Scout troop here, and he's been a member of it since like 40 years. He's just amazing. So I met him. I felt like he was going to have my back. I felt like that Remax had tools and that they had education and they had apps. They had like pretty much a one-stop shop to get started in real estate. And even though I had already had a few transactions under my belt, I didn't get any of that guidance at my last brokerage. And their commission payout, they don't try to price gouge their real estate agents, and they also don't force you to price gouge your clients. So whatever I want to charge for a listing, that's what I charge. There isn't this, well, we really want you to do this. No, if there's someone who is almost underwater on their mortgage because I had this happen because COVID, they took a deferment. They had zero money to pay me. And we found it out towards the end of the transaction. And I said, you know what? I'm doing this pro bono. I told my broker, like, hey, I can't take a fee for this. Like, they'll have to pay out of pocket. Like, I just want to give it to them. It'll help me sleep at night. My other company, they wouldn't have let me do that. But Remax lets me run the business the way I want to run it, lets me be the ethical agent I want to be, and decide what my own time is worth and in what situations I can have flexibility with my clients for what they're paying.
Awesome. I love that. So understanding that and understanding that maybe the first 4 months you would have rather spent at Remax to start with, if I was to take that away from you and say you can't use that as the answer, what other piece of advice would you give Jessica starting out when you were younger, first getting into the business? What's a piece of advice you would have given yourself now, looking back, knowing what you know now, besides the fact that don't go to that brokerage?
Customer follow back is key. You bring little gifts to them. Congratulate them when they have a baby. Keep in contact with your clients. You did them a service, but they also did you a service. They're paying you. You want to be grateful for that. You want to let them know that you still care about them, that once the transaction's over, you don't forget about them. And I didn't really get the full follow up. Like, I just really wasn't invested in my follow up and keeping contact with my clients when I first started real estate. And I would have started that day one, just being like, hey, wasn't your birthday last week? I sent you a cup of coffee. Like, that matters to people, and you need to let them know that they matter to you.
I like that. Yeah, I think that oftentimes I think the answer to that question, or even uh, just asking people, how are you going to grow your business? Most of them are saying, I need to get a CRM, right? Or most of them are saying, I need to be tracking all this stuff. And some of them are still not tracking it. And they're saying, well, CRM would be great, but I got to learn the software. I got to learn how to do this. I got to learn how to do that. But truly, that CRM, keeping track of all those dates and everything about your customers, is the biggest deal to them and to you. I mean, I want to know when my customers have their birthdays and their anniversaries and that kind of stuff. I want to be able to, share in their joy and send them something, or even just a quick. I use Facebook Messenger and I send out happy birthdays just because I know that it's a different medium to contact people. Any friends out there listening to this podcast know that I reach out on your birthday because I think it's cool. And I want you to know that I'm thinking about you, even if it's, a day or two before. I'm still thinking about you and your birthday and how we still know each other. So,
Yeah.
yeah, totally can appreciate that. So, getting into how you're going to continue to grow from here. So, you've been successful. You started off doing really well. It didn't take you long to become successful within your business. where do you go from here? What's the future? Are you going to be growing a team? Are you going to be, opening up your own brokerage? What's your plan?
I definitely wouldn't open up my own brokerage. I wouldn't leave my current brokerage unless my broker died. Like that's the only way I'm ever leaving this one. He's the best. I have a couple. I have more than a couple. I have a few really, really close friends that are agents here with me, and we have like a unofficial kind of understanding when one is gone, the other one covers. If you're too busy and you need to share a client because you've got stuff going on, and it's almost like a team, but we're not an official team or anything. It's just when needed. I would really like to have a partner that loves listing houses, that loves staging, and have them take on that side of the business. And I would like to work with the buyers. It's way more work. It really is. Everybody knows that. But I get so much joy out of working with the buyers. So I think my next step, and I've kind of hinted with some of my friends, would be a partnership rather than a team, where we both utilized our strengths to serve clients in the best way that we can. And that would be bringing on a partner that really loves and thrives listing homes.
Awesome. So then, how do you define success when it comes to reaching that business plan? I mean, is it going to be just we've added that person and now we're successful because we've added that person, or what is that? I guess what's the tip of the iceberg for you with that?
Success isn't about money or transaction counts. For me, success is about happiness. Are you happy doing your job? Are you happy with the life you're providing your family? Are you going to bed at night knowing that you did everything the way that you intended it to be, that you weren't cutting corners, that you weren't being unethical, that you weren't dropping the ball? So I think if I were in a space where I had a strong partner that was with me, I think I would call myself successful if we were just kind of like a well-oiled machine. Like I had a system in place and we had like step by step. I don't know if that really makes sense, because I can't tell you success isn't a finite number or a finite amount of transactions. It's like a feeling.
Yep. Okay. I get it. And success means something different to everyone, right? And some people say success is I want to have a year where I make $1 million. Other people say success is just enjoying what I do, because truly, if you enjoy what you do, the money really doesn't matter as long as you've got enough to feed the family and keep the kids in sports and do what's important to them and what's important to you. So awesome. Well, I want to hop on over to this or that. In this segment, I'm going to just ask you some questions, just related to yourself, your personal lifestyle. You're welcome to, answer the question A or B and pick one, or if you want to expand upon any of them, all of them, go for it. I'm happy to hear what all you're thinking about when it comes to these things. So first off, I'm going to get into it and say, cooking at home or takeout.
Oh, cooking at home for sure. I love it. Just love cooking with my kids. Love cooking with my husband.
Are you the cook or is your husband?
Okay. So we subscribe to this like home delivery service where they send you the food and they send you the thing. So it's basically who's in the mood. Like if he's had a really tough day and the planes were just nonstop, he's gonna say I don't feel like cooking, and then I'll cook. If I've been showing houses all night, I might text the twins and say like, hey, you guys have to make dinner tonight, and it's all right there. So it's really whoever feels like it that day. We all support each other when we have like during swim season. My son never cooks, but now swim season's over, and so I might be like, hey, come cook with me tonight. And so we really split it up pretty well.
I don't think I've ever heard anybody that's actually using it. Is it like the HelloFresh, like that one or something like it? Is that
It's
kind of what you're
it's
talking
like
about?
it's called Every Plate, and I think that Every Plate is owned by HelloFresh, and I love it. I've been doing it for like 4 or 5 months, and you can skip weeks and stuff. And there's an app, and my kids pick out the things that they would most like, and my husband picks it out. And then at the end of the week, I have the veto power, so I like narrow it down to like a couple, like three, and we are eating better and we're getting more fresh foods into our not processed. Nothing's processed. I mean, you're just getting the ingredients. So I feel like we're getting more like vitamins and whatnot from doing that. So even if it's not healthier, it feels like it is.
Well, even if you've got teenage kids, I mean, it's hard to go out and grocery shop, and it's hard to plan for what you're going to be making that week. And even if you can just have a few meals a week that are already planned and ready to go, I feel like that has to be a win just in and of itself. Ice cream or cake?
Ice cream, mint chocolate
Okay.
chip.
Train travel. What's that?
I said mint chocolate chip.
Oh, the worst kind,
Oh my
really?
god, I
Ouch.
know. And it's March. This is like the month of green. You've got to go get like a shamrock shake. You need mint chocolate chip.
I like mint and I like chocolate chips. They don't go together. That's just it's one of those Oreos and mint. They don't go together. Chocolate and mint just are not my thing. Unfortunately, I'm that weirdo. Train travel or road trips?
I've always wanted to go on a train. I've done like a Amtrak from like New Jersey up to New York City or down to DC because I grew up on the East Coast. But I'd like to take a train like all the way across the country. That's actually on my bucket list is to start on one side of the country and go the other via train. So I can't answer that question because I've never done the train before.
But you really want to. Let's be honest. I really want to, but I'm 6'10". I don't really fit into trains. I'm guessing. I guess I don't know. I've never even been on one. I don't fit in cars. I know that's for sure. I don't fit on planes.
So neither.
I do. I fit on boats. Can I travel across the country in a boat? I can't swim though, so that kind of defeats the purpose of a boat. I don't know. What's that?
Airplane. Learn to fly.
I might learn to use my long arms and fly because I don't fit on a plane either. But I guess if I get the exit row and I get the really big planes where I can stand up, I might be okay. Comedy or horror?
Horror, sure. But we go to the comedy club in Omaha like once a month. So I don't not like comedy, but like you can always get me to agree to a horror movie, always.
Are you the person that'll go to a haunted house as well?
Oh yeah, yeah. And bring my kids and my daughter, she loves it, but she screams. And so all the actors like know to go for her and it's just hilarious. We love doing that in the fall.
I just have nightmares of going to a haunted house one time, and I just never want to do it again. It was a really big one down in Nashville. I don't know. We were all like, we had our hands on each other's shoulders, right? And we're going through, and I'm pretty sure the guy in the front even punched one of the actors because it scared him so much, and he just turned around and whacked him, and like they got mad at us, and I, it was like them trying to tell you, hey, you're not supposed to do that, while us freaking out and running everywhere. So I I'm glad you like it. Somebody has to. I'm going to stick with my comedy stuff. Rainy days or sunny days?
Sunny days. I'm allergic to whatever happens after the rain. If we get a rainstorm, the grass mold or whatever happens, it's not a fun time for me. So sun all day.
Worms. Worms are what come out alive there on the rainy days.
Allergic to worms.
Beach or mountain vacation?
For the beach. I grew up on the Jersey Shore, so Long Beach Island. That I mean, like beach have to be at the beach.
Classical or pop music?
Pop.
No classical at all?
I mean, I could. I wouldn't turn it off. I will turn off country though. So you didn't. Yeah, you didn't ask me about that. But
Those are fighting
I
words
know.
around here.
And scream metal, country scream metal, turn that off. Everything else I'm cool with.
I mean, country and scream metal are really starting to become one and the same in some spots. So, I mean, I could see that, but yeah, no, I'm kidding. I mean, country and rap really is starting to meld together, and country and hip hop, you know.
Yeah.
So,
No, I can't do it. It makes me sad.
social media or social gatherings?
Oh, I can't choose. I can't choose. I'm a very social person. So yeah, they're equal. Like I've got to have my feelers in everything, for sure.
Taking that one step further, you walk into a room of 100 people you don't know. Are you first going to find the one person that you think you know and start talking to them? Or are you going to walk around and introduce yourself to everybody?
I am going to go for the food first, and then I'm going to walk around and assess everyone and find someone that I can start a conversation up with. Like, oh my gosh, your shoes are amazing. I love sparkles. Let's talk. My very best friend, she's my maid of honor at my wedding, my kid's godmother, like very best friend. I walked into my physics class in college. I looked around the room. I sat next to her and I said, "Hey, we're going to be friends now." And she's like, "What?" And 20 years later, we are still friends.
Television series or documentary?
That's a hard one too. Um, Yikes! That's another one that's even I can't choose. I love documentaries, and there's some television series that I'm rewatching The Walking Dead with my son. I mean, that yeah, you're killing me with these like equal ones. I can't do it.
I'm glad I'm giving you some tough decisions. When you get in the shower later, tomorrow, whatever, you're going to think about these questions. You're going to have a good answer, but hindsight's always 2020. Fiction or nonfiction?
Nonfiction.
Okay, that's like an easy one,
Yeah,
right? Like you gotta go one or the other, and I feel like for whatever reason in real estate world, most of us are pretty much nonfiction.
yeah. Obviously, I used to be a chemist. And when I was younger, originally I wanted to be an infectious disease physician. That's what I wanted to do. So I got really into the books like about outbreak, like the Ebola virus, and that's when I moved over from nonfiction as a younger person. You do your fantasy, whatever, and then I moved into fiction, and now real life stories, struggle stuff. I fiction is I like just tell me about things.
Yep. Tea or soda?
Tea.
Fancy dinner or cozy home meal?
Fancy dinner, which is kind of opposite of my last answer. I really love a chef's table meal where they have like a 7 course meal. It's all planned for you. You just sit down and enjoy it and then say thank you, chef, when you're done. I will never say no to that.
What show is that? The Bear. Thank you, chef.
Oh, yes, yes. And then there's a horror movie. I don't know what it was, but it's by A24, and the chef is. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do know what you're talking about. We totally saw that. We were like, what the heck did we sign up for?
I mean, I like usually I can be like, okay, this is gonna happen or that's gonna happen. I did not expect a lot of stuff that was in that.
That was a weird movie. Like it was just like all about them making nice fancy meals, and then suddenly someone dies. And like, what is going on here? I'm
Isn't that
so
always how it is when
confused. That was a good movie. I
it
gotta
was?
look that up and go watch that again. I think that was that Knives Out? No, that wasn't Knives Out. I don't know, something
No,
like that though.
no. I don't know. I could recognize the chef and I can tell you it's A24 and that's about it.
Better than me. How about working alone or in a team?
I'd like to be in a team, but doing my own thing. The support of a team would be great. Meeting of the minds every so often, but not being micromanaged and told what to do.
Fair. Live sports or live concerts?
Live concerts. Taylor
That's why
Swift.
you're winning this weekend, right? Like you're going to the concert while your husband has to go to the sports contest.
Exactly. Sports ball. Yes, I'm going to. Yeah, exactly.
I heard that earlier, and I was like, "Oh, that question's coming up later. We'll save that one for sure." Vintage or modern?
Like aesthetics.
Yeah,
I really like vintage. Give me a nice like 1970s like sunken in couch area. What is it called? Conversation pit and some like nice wood paneling. I'm there. I love it. I don't know why.
breakfast for dinner or dinner for breakfast?
Dinner for breakfast. Yeah, yeah. Don't give me eggs and hash browns. Let me have the leftovers from last night. That's what I'm gonna
Cold pizza, here we come.
have. Yes.
Staying in or going out on a Friday night?
Okay. I play board games. My husband plays board games. We have Hundreds. I'm telling you, hundreds of board games. You will, if you saw our collection, you would be like, you have a problem. So we invite people over, our very best friends. They come over as often as possible. They have kids that just like run around feral in our house while we play board games. So it's like a night. It's cozy night in, but it's like a night out because there's just like chaos everywhere.
I love that. I wish we had that. I grew up in a family where we would go every once a month. We would go and play. Like the parents would play cards. It was a card club. They'd all go and play cards, and I would run around with the kids, and we'd just have a great time. And it was once a month. I get to just know that I was just going to be hanging out. And then as I got older, I'm like, I really want to have a card club, but when you're 20 years old, people are like, why in the heck are we meeting for cards? That's just weird. Let's go out and go to the bar or something. So I'm getting there. I'm getting them.
You
I'm
got
mid
to find
30s now.
yourself
So
you got to find yourself some Dungeon and Dragon friends. Like those are the people that are they're gonna be there for you. Your drinking buddies. They're not gonna help you move to your next house, but your D&D crew, they're gonna be there. Oh
I'll have to look into that for you for sure. All right. So thank you for that. Now that we know a little bit more about you, I can appreciate your personality a lot more. Your trending topic question of the episode is, so buyers and sellers are keen to understand whether the market is favoring buyers or sellers, what the inventory levels are like, and whether it's a good time to buy or sell. So, what's the current state of the Lincoln real estate market?
So it's always a good time to buy. The right time to buy a house is when you're ready for it. If you try to play the guessing game and decide, okay, I'm going to go next year when the interest rates are lower, it might not be. COVID hit us, like a ton of bricks, and all of a sudden, everybody's putting $10,000, $15,000 over list price and saying like we'll pay the gap between the appraisal and the contract price if the appraiser says it's not worth it. I mean, nobody expected that. So if you're ready to buy your house, buy your house. Now, as far as sellers go, it's a seller's market. If you are looking to sell a house and you listen to your agent, which is like the key part, when your agent tells you that your house is not worth 350,000, it's worth more like 315. They're not saying that because they're trying to be mean. They're telling you what your house is worth. If your house is going to stay on the market for an extra month and you're eventually going to get down to 315, what good did it do you? Now people are thinking things are wrong with the house. Now you're going to have to do a lot of repairs because it's just listen to your agent. So I would say buyer and seller market, because if you need to buy a house. There's grants out there. I mean, just do it. But sellers, you're gonna do well if you listen to your agent. But over the next few months, there's gonna be a lot of changes. Starting in July, there's been a lawsuit. Basically, if you really boil it down, it's price fixing. Some clients said, "Hey, you didn't show me houses that had a lower buyer agent payout because you didn't want to make less money, and that's unethical." Well, yeah, it is. And there's a lawsuit, and the National Association of Realtors settled. And now buyers are going to have to negotiate with their agents their own commission. So what's going to happen, I predict, I think it's going to be harder for the first-time home buyers and for maybe veterans, people in the lower price points. A lot of times, folks buying their first house, they don't have a lot of extra money past their down payment and the closing costs they need. And now, no longer are listing agents going to be able to say, we're paying buyers 2%, we're paying buyers 3%. Like, it's no longer like a guarantee. Before, the seller pays the commission for both agents. They're making the profit. Our prices have that kind of baked in. So if you're buying, we're going to use an easy number like $100,000. So if you're selling your house for $100,000, and maybe the you can't, there's not like a going rate. You can't like coordinate what rates, but let's say like a widely used number would be like 5%. So that seller's paying their listing agent $5,000, and the listing agent will split it with the buyer's agent. 60-40, 50-50, because they're both doing work. And then the buyers don't have that burden of having to come up with additional money because they're using their money to buy their house. So what's going to happen now is the sellers will be told, like, you know, you don't have to pay a buyer's agent. They can work it out themselves. You know, this is my fee for listing it. But that's not going to change the prices. You try telling a seller that the house that was worth $100,000 in 4 months ago is now only worth 95 because that commission is no longer baked into the price, if that makes sense. And now you're going to have buyers that don't have the extra money for representation, so they're going to call the listing agent. The listing agent, their fiduciary responsibility is to the sellers. They are working for the sellers. So if there were already agents that were is unscrupulous a word? I don't know. If there were already agents that were unethical and they were not showing their clients' houses because the commission pay was lower, okay? Who's to say that as listing agents, they're going to treat the clients that come in to purchase the house well? I mean, we have a code of ethics, we have a commission, we have all of these rules in place, but people still didn't do that. And it's a few bad apples spoils the bunch. So I'm really nervous for my VA clients. My husband's a veteran. Every home we've ever purchased was with a VA loan. And my heart is with first-time home buyers. It's my happy spot. I would want to work with 10 first-time home buyers running all around Lincoln than 10 listings. And that's crazy. Agents think I'm crazy for that, but that's just my happy spot. I think it's going to hurt them. As a VA buyer, you can't pay your agent's commission. It's against the rules. So what are they going to do? Are they going to have representation that is actually working for them in their best interest? Because I'm really nervous about where the market's going to go for home buyers in the future because of this.
That's a really good point, and I've considered the VA piece of it, but I didn't actually think about the VA buyers not being able to pay their agent commissions, and that's going to be a big deal. I haven't explored that in my mind yet. Well, Jessica, thank you for coming on today and sharing your insight. It was great to get to know you, great to learn more about you. Where can our listeners find out, get in contact with you? How can they get a hold of you?
Okay, so you can call or text me. I prefer text. The phone number is 402-560-3299. You can find me on social media. There's not a lot of people with the last name Cammarano, and it's a long one. I'm going to spell it out for you, but most of my social medias are Jess Cam, JessCamm. And if it's not Jess Cam, it's going to be Jessica Nicole Cammarano, the whole thing. So JessicCammarano. I am so sorry, guys.
Just follow me, Tall Money Man. You can find that anywhere, Tall Money Man, and you'll find Jessica already linked as one of the people I follow. So hop in there, and you can find that easily as well. So, Jess, again, thanks for hopping on the show today. Thank you all for listening in this week. Stay tuned for next week when we have another special guest joining us, and have an awesome weekend.